Welcome back. The movie begins in 2015. The first permanent colony was established on the moon. Then in the year 2032, commercial mining begins on Mars, after which in the year 2040, a deep space research vessel Event Horizon is launched to explore the boundaries of the solar system, in which she disappears without a trace beyond Neptune. In 2047, a distress signal is received from the Event Horizon, a starship that disappeared during its maiden voyage to Proxima Centauri 7 years earlier, and has mysteriously reappeared in a decaying orbit around Nep. The rescue vessel, Lewis and Clark, is dispatched. Smith then complains about going to Neptune instead of Mars, which is women, in which Lieutenant Stark also tells Captain Williams there is nothing there. The captain then tells them it is not for them to choose, so they're to follow commands. He tells them to get ready for the ion pump, and everybody gets ready to go into the grave tank, because without a tank, when the ion initiate, the force will destroy their skeleton, and it will die. Now 56 days in the tank, Dr. Williams wakes up. He experiences a hallucination of his wife, Claire, and they get him out soon after Captain Miller gathers everybody, in which he introduces Dr. Miller Weir, the Event Horizon's designer, to the crew and its crew. Second in command, Lieutenant Stark, pilot Smith, medical technician, Peters engineer, and some Justin Doctor, DJ, rescue technician Cooper. After the introduction, Cooper asks about their mission, prompting Miller to ask Williams too. Before his briefing, he thanked them for the opportunity to be on. Captain Miller tells him they're not pleased to have him, since they were taken off their leave and sent into Neptune space. Dr. Williams immediately tells them that the USSC intercepted a radio transmission from a decaying orbit around Neptune, informing them that the transmission source is Event Horizon. The crew, on hearing this, expresses their disbelief and attempts to leave. The captain then orders them to sit back, after which Dr. Williams explains that the information they heard about the Event Horizon was inaccurate, and later explains that the Event Horizon was the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster than a light flight. Still, the crew doesn't agree with him, telling him it is impossible. He then briefs them on the ship's experimental gravity drive with a simple visualization of how it folds in space-time. Justin then asks him what happened to the ship since it blew up. Dr. Williams informs them that after using the gravity drive to open the gateway to Proxima Centauri, they disappeared and vanished without a trace until now. He also informs them he built the ship. Captain Miller then asks where it has been for 7 years. William, not sure about where it has been, replies that it is what they are there to find. He also informs them that they could not verify live contact, though they did receive a singles transmission in which he played for them, now playing it to the crew. The distress signal consists of a series of screams and howls despite what they heard. DJ believes he can discern the Latin phrase, "Liberate me, save me from it," soon after they hear their alarm, and he dispatches them to their station, after which they locate Event Horizon and experience turbulence trying to get close to it, in which they try to lock their ship. After this, they try to scan the ship but can't get an accurate reading on their status, so they're left with no choice but to go into the ship. Dr. Williams then offers to go with them. Captain Miller tells him to stay in their ship and guide them until they can secure the ship. Upon boarding the Event Horizon, the crew, with the help of Dr. William, tries to navigate. In the process, they find evidence of a massacre as they search for survivors. The ship's gravity drive activates, briefly pulling Justin into the resulting portal and causing a shockwave that damages Lewis and Clark, forcing the entire crew to board the Event Horizon. Now on board on Event Horizon, Captain Miller asks about their status. The crew informs him that they have lost all contact and no one is coming to. Stark also tells him of the dangers if they stay long on Event Horizon, since the air is contaminated. After which Smith goes outside to check the damage on their ship and tells them it will take a lot of time to fix. Captain Miller informs him that they only have 20 hours before they run out of air. After communicating with Smith, he asks Dr. William about what happened on the ship. Later, Justin emerges in a catatonic state due to what he has seen on the other side. Peter and Smith then attend to him, but conclude that he might not wake up after. Cooper explains to Miller and Dr. Williams what they encounter. On hearing this, Dr. Williams tells him he is delusional since it is impossible, which later gets them into an argument. Captain Williams then calls them to order by telling them that whatever happened might happen to them, though he believes Cooper, so he needs an explanation from Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams explains that they might have experienced gravitational distortion, which can distort space and time, that must have made Justin disappear, which could have also damaged Lewis and Clark, their ship, but he thinks it. Captain Miller then asks what is in the core. He explains to them after their conversation. He orders the place to be sealed off, since they don't know what might happen. Williams tries to convince him that it is safe, but Miller disagrees since it damaged their ship and one of his crew members. Justin might not make it home. Later, Peter watches a record of the past crew. However, in the process, she hallucinates seeing a memory of seeing her son, which leaves DJ no choice than to bring her back to her senses. Not long after, Smith enters the ship back and tells Scott he would rather be outside the ship than inside. Eventually, Peter shows Captain Miller including Dr. Williams, the ship's log where they watch them. In the video, the captain acknowledges his colleagues, announcing that they will use gravity now, and says goodbye. After which noises and screams are heard. Peters tells Captain Miller she will try to decode it so they can have a clue about what has happened to them. They soon hear noises alerting them from the power drain, and they both go to check it out. Meanwhile, Justin begins to convulse. He grabs DJ, telling him he is coming. The crew starts seeing people from their past that only they can see, hallucinations corresponding to their fears and regrets back in the room. Together they discuss what they are seeing. Captain Miller sees Korik, a subordinate he was forced to abandon to his death. Peter sees her son, who she left with her ex-husband, with his legs covered in bloody lesions, and were Susan Isla's vision of his late wife who killed herself, urging him to. In the process, they fight as Smith accuses William of trying to kill them since he got the first crew killed. This leads Captain Miller to calm him down. After the event, Peter tells Captain Miller about her theory, as she thinks there is a connection between the readings and hallucination. She tells him that the ship is reacting to them, which is getting stronger. She also tells him she thinks the ship brought back something with it, like a life force, meaning the ship is alive, but he disagrees. She tells him that is the only answer she has immediately. Captain Miller leaves, informing her as he goes that he wants to survive on the ship for the next 10. Later, Peters goes to the medical lab and can't find Justine. In the process of trying to find him, she begins to hear a loud noise and banging. She runs to the other crew members, inquiring them if they can also hear the noise. They then try to calm her down, asking her to tell them what happened. Soon after, they hear the door bang. In the process, Dr. Williams hears something telling him to open the door. On his way to open the door, Stark manages to get a hold of him, telling him to control himself. After the banging stops, they immediately get an alert about someone in the airlock. On hearing this, they try to communicate with Captain Miller, Smith, and Cooper, in which they find out it is Justine. Immediately, they tried to communicate with him, but couldn't, so they inform Captain Miller. Cooper offers to get him, but Captain Miller tells him to stay. Justine then attempts suicide by decompression, where in the process, Peters tries to talk him out, but fails, and he opens the door. He starts to experience his body decompressing, after which in time he is saved by Captain Miller, forcing the crew to place him in stasis with everybody in the same room. Captain Miller asks about their status. Stark tells them they only have 4 hours. Captain Miller then informs them that they have to find out what happened to the former crew before the same thing happens to them, after which he asks Dr. Williams about what is going on the ship. He tells him he doesn't know, not pleased with the response. He tells him he built the ship, so he is meant to have an answer. Dr. Williams replies to him telling him he needs more time, but Captain Williams tells him they don't have time. After their conversation, Captain Williams gets hallucinations about his subordinate Korik. He is forced to be abandoned to death, calling him to save him. He then tells DJ about what he experienced, including the story of what transpires between them. DJ challenges him by telling him he hasn't told him before. Captain Miller tells him that he hasn't told anyone before. He also tells him the ship knows about their fear, their secret, and it knows how to get in their head. In the process, DJ confesses to making a mistake in the translation they heard in the distress signal, which means save yourself from hell. DJ also tells him that if Dr. Williams is right about his words that represent the ship has been beyond the boundaries of their universe, of known scientific reality, since they don't know where it had been, what it has seen, and what it brought back with it from hell. He notes that the person that sent the message believes in hell. In the process, Cooper calls for Captain Miller and tells him they're ready to repressurize Lewis and Clark, and they can leave. The captain then repressurizes it, causing them to have a setback. Cooper tells him to give him 20 minutes to solve the problem. After this, Peter and Stark search for answers on their system. They soon discover a video log of the Event Horizon's crew fornicating and mutilating each. Shortly after first engaging the gravity drive, she calls for Captain Miller, Dr. William, and DJ. The log then ends with a shot of the Event Horizon's captain holding out his own eyes gouged from their sockets, speaking the complete Latin phrase from the earlier distress call, which DJ translates as Liberty Inferior Set Exang Ferries Save Yourself from Hell. Immediately after watching the video, Captain Miller announces that they are leaving, and Dr. Williams tells him they can't leave since their orders are specific. Captain Williams then tells him their orders are to rescue the crew and salvage what is left of the ship. He then tells him the crew is dead and that a ship, deducing that the ship's drive opened a gateway to a hellish dimension outside the known universe, and that the Event Horizon has somehow attained sentience. Miller decides to destroy it, ordering an evacuation. Dr. Williams then tells him they're there for a job, not pleased with him. Captain Miller tells him they're aborting. Captain Miller then instructs Stark to download the files from the Event Horizon computers, and tells DJ to prep Justine and move him back to the Clark dot. DJ then tells him he needs to get stuff from medicals. He gives him the. He also instructs Peters to get the CO2 scrubbers back into the Clark, informing her to take Smith with him. After his orders, Dr. Williams tells him not to leave, asking about his ship Event Horizon, and Captain William tells him after Lewis and Clark to a safe distance. Then he will launch missiles at Event Horizon until he is satisfied at his vapor. Not long after, Stark informs him that the core is draining power from the rest of the ship. He immediately tells her to get the files and vacate the ship. In the process, Dr. Williams tells him he can't leave as the ship won't let him leave, but Captain Williams tells him to get his gear and go back to Lewis and Clark, or he will find himself walking home. Dr. Williams then tells him he is home back at the core. Peter and Smith get the CO2 scrubbers, after which he tells her to let. On their way, Peters is lured to her death by a hallucination of her son. Dr. Williams then returns to the core and sees Peter's dead body. Soon after, he begins to have hallucinations about Claire, his wife. In the process, he gouges out his eyes and is possessed by the evil presence. Smith, on getting back to Lewis and Clark, asks Cooper how long it will take for him to fix it. He tells him he is done, but he needs a few minutes to get his tools, which they will be out. He sees Dr. Williams outside the board and immediately informs Captain Miller. Captain Miller then notices one of the explosives is missing. He instructs Smith to get off. Lewis and Clark, already possessed by the evil presence. Dr. Williams uses the explosive device to destroy Lewis and Clark, killing Smith, which also blasts Cooper into space. After this, Captain Williams informs DJ that Lewis and Clark is gone, declaring that Smith and Cooper are dead, which Dr. Williams did it, so if he spots him, he should take him out, informing him to be. After their conversation, he turns back to find Dr. Williams at his back. Dr. Williams kills DJ by bisecting him, and Captain William, on getting there, is too late. Immediately, he grabs a gun and goes to look for Dr. Williams. In the process, he sees Stark on the floor, whereby he tries to help her but meets Dr. Williams on their way. Captain Miller then asks Dr. Williams what happened to his eyes. He tells him where they're going. They don't need eyes to see, since the Event Horizon has gone farther than the stars and she tore a hole in their universe, a gateway to another dimension, a dimension of pure chaos and pure evil, that before she was just a ship, and now that it is back, is alive. After this, Captain Miller confronts Dr. Williams, who overpowers him, initiating a 10-minute countdown, at the end of which the Event Horizon will return to the other dimension by activating the gravity. Meanwhile, Cooper, having used his spacesuit's oxygen supply to propel himself back to the ship, appears at the bridge window. Dr. Williams immediately shoots at him, shattering the window, and is blown into space by the ensuing decompression. After the encounter, Miller, Stark, and Cooper survived, managing to seal off the ship's bridge with their ship destroyed. Captain Miller plans to split the Event Horizon in two and use its forward section as a lifeboat. After initiating the emergence beacon, Cooper sees blood on the ship and runs to find Stark. After this, he finds Stark drenched in blood, but luckily saves her. On the other hand, Captain Miller activates the detonator, informing them they are armed and ready to blow. Stark then tells him they need to get out fast. In the process, he's attacked by manifestations of Quark, which turn out to be resurrected by Dr. Williams. Captain Miller then fights him off and detonates the explosives, sacrificing himself. The gravity drive activates, pulling the ship's stern section into a black hole. Stark and Cooper in stasis beside a Komodo, Justin, and wait to be rescued. 72 days later, the wreckage of the Event Horizon is boarded by a rescue party who discovered the remaining crew in stasis: Cooper, Justine, and Stark. They immediately open the tanks after taking notes of their stake. Stark sees Dr. Williams posing as one of the rescuers and screams in terror, but she soon wakes up, realizing that it was a nightmare, that they are the rescue team. Cooper, including the rescue team, then comforts the newly awakened and terrified Stark as the doors close. Cooper tells her they are safe and the movie ends. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe, like, and share. This really helps the channel out.